All right, coaches, we now go into the drill phase of kickoff return, and I'm going to show you the one drill I do outside of working scheme on a Tuesday, Wednesday. I know that some of you may say, wait a second, you only do one drill for kickoff return. That's right. Because remember, when we were personnelling it from the linebackers, using linebackers because they're used to dropping hook, curl, or walling number two out of the middle of the field, to using tight ends as our ends because they're used to absorbing a blow and then to be able to shoot their hands and kind of turn that defender with the proper leverage, to the fullback being able to work downhill and block, and then to returners, being your wide receivers or corners, your best athletes, whomever it might be, and then being willing to block in that aspect and blocking an open field, for example, a wide receiver stop blocking, but being able to use offense and defensive players who work on the skill set needed within this scheme in their offense and defense positions. That's the reason we can get away with just working one drill. But the one drill that we do is called the Gauntlet, okay? It's called the Gauntlet. What I've drawn up here, I've drawn X's of different colors, and the colors go together, meaning that your first rep would be all blue X's, the second rep would be these red X's, and the third rep would be these green X's. You can tell that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. And this drill is done within a 10-yard span, and it's done all the way across the field. So within this drill, I can do up to 12 people. I don't recommend doing more than 3 per line. So if you're a larger program, I would recommend, having several of these spread out and then filming it if you need to. I can tell you that when I've done it in the past at the 6As, even at the 6A, we made special teams something special to be part of, and you had to be, pretty much elite to be on them. That even at the 6A at Fort Bend Hightower, we only had about 24, 25 kids that were able to play special teams. And so we would take, what we would do there, we'd take this drill and we just duplicate it. So we had 2 going at the same time. And typically, I was on one side, my assistant was on the other, and then the head coach is over on the side making little notes about everything that he didn't like that he'd share with me later. But at any rate, this is called the Gauntlet, and it works kickoff as well as kickoff return and some skill sets within each one. So let me just go over them, and hopefully you can see kind of what I'm talking about. The coach is going to stand somewhere in here, and he's going to have a football because he's going to throw it to this player here. But you're going to start here. You're going to start in a like a gunner stance or a wide receiver stance off the side of the field there. This player here is going to be in a pressed up jam mindset. And I want to stress, this is not a kickoff return drill that you happen to work some kickoff skills in it. It is a kickoff and kickoff return drill. So all players should be giving maximum effort. And if that means that this guy gets jammed up and he doesn't even get across the field, then that's what that means. And I can't stress enough that it's that kind of effort that can take this drill to the next level and kickoff and kickoff return to the next level for you. But he'll start out and he's working an avoid tactic. Whatever that looks like in your program, however you coach it, that's what he's doing here. As soon as he beats that defender, he's taught to get back on line. So if he avoids top side here, he wants to get back on his line. This guy is told that after you got to jam him, and as long as you get your hands on him, you can run your feet. But as soon as your shoulders get turned right or left, to then stop and let him go. Okay? This guy will work back on line. As soon as he clears the first defender, this player will drop at a 45, but still maintaining leverage. Okay? He can butt up with this guy and take him either way. It doesn't matter. So when he beats this guy and he gets back on line, he's now taught, he's working kickoff. Okay? He's working kickoff return. This is your front line guy. He's dropping hook, curl, trying to flip the hips and block with little leverage. But we give these guys a two-way go here. He can either run right at him, freeze him, and escape front side, or he can make that guy work hard to come to him and work away from him and dip rip butt side. Either way, these two players in this phase, they are hooked up. And I can't stress it enough. If he gets his hands on him and ends up stopping his momentum and blocking him all the way out here, perfect, perfect. That's what he is taught to do, okay? But just like the first defender, just like the first drill here, when he drops and tries to hook up, if he escapes butt side and gets around him, that's when that player stops and this player continues on. As soon as he gets by this defender, the next defender will drop. Now here, we're not looking to stay levered with our shoulders turned to take him right or left. We're getting to a spot and we're turning around and we are looking to absorb that contact. This player would be like the tight end or the fullback on kickoff return. That's what this drill is working. As soon as he absorbs that contact, then he's working to turn the shoulders to the right or to the left, okay? To the right or to the left. As this player runs by the coach who's in the middle, that's when the coach is going to throw a football at about the top of the numbers. The returner is going to run up and catch the football, and as he's catching it is when this contact should be made. Once the returner catches the football and gets his eyes to the blocks, the returner should then run opposite of whichever way this guy's being blocked. So for example, if he runs here and he turns around and they hook up and he's blocking him this way, then once the returner catches the football, if the guy running across the field is being blocked this way, the returner should block back this way. The guy running across the field working kickoff should be in a butt press mode here. He doesn't want to get turned. He wants to keep his shoulders square and force that returner to just then have to pick a side. That's when he'll snag and he'll run through. We don't tackle. We tell the returner once you pick the side, you're running to this spot of where the yard line meets the hash, and we're letting the guy working kickoff running across the field run through the opposite shoulder and do an air tackle there. But that's the gauntlet. As soon as these players are done with the drill, the guy running all the way across the field, making an air tackle, he'll get back in the back of this line. The next returner will step up. After that, everybody else moves up. The returner moves up one side. The returner who just went right or left, he'll toss the ball to the coach, and he'll get back in this line. So if he came here, he'll go get in this line. The guy who just dropped to be able to absorb the block and turn, he'll go from here to work to the back of this line. And the guy who just went for the front line of kickoff return, dropping that hook curl to block with leverage, after he's done, he will then come back and get in the end of the line here. And the guy who is working press coverage, he will work here. All right, and he'll be the next guy to run across the field. And the guy who is next in line here, he will come out. The red guy will be the next guy who runs press coverage. So that's the gauntlet. That's the only drill we do for kickoff return. And I believe when it's done at a high level, it'll lead to great results for you.